Okay, that's enough of that. Sorry about that. I had to. Oh, welcome to our Black News. Of course, I'm Don. We are joined by Reverend Tim Christopher, and of course, co-host Anthony T. Scott from the Scott Foundation. And hey, man, or Scott Collection, I should say. I don't want anybody calling you trying to get a grant just yet. And but anyway, there's a lot going on, and we'd like to take a minute before we even get started to send our condolences to fans, friends, and family of Jelly Bean Johnson, uh, original drummer of the time, uh, just all around cool dude. Um, Never said a negative thing, And when I was talking to him anyway, and just the kind of guy that would come in the room, from my experience, it's not like I knew him or talked to him every day, but when I did run into encounters, he would say hello, what's up, and just be that brother that you always want to be talking to if you're walking around in public. And of course, his shows, being at the Caboose, this is just my experience. I'm going to let Anthony and Reverend Christopher talk too. Being at the Caboose and seeing him sometime impromptu get on stage and jam with whatever band was playing or his band, be it the drums, the guitar, whatever. That was great stuff. And again, our condolences to his fans, friends, and family, uh, Mr. Jellybean Johnson. Anthony, you played. You're a musician,
Yeah,
and
well, Dan, yeah, good morning, guys. Good morning
yeah,
to the show. And yeah, that's a very sad note. And Jelligan, I've known him since we were basically teenagers in bands. We had this band, Prophets of Peace, and he had the Fight Time. And since then, we were always friends. I mean, every time he would see me, hey T, what's happening? T Scott, what's going on? I mean, it was like, and most people that actually just were around him was like his friends. He was just that kind of an affable guy. And for a few years, my father-in-law, he owned a hardware store in South Minneapolis. I was on 43rd and Nicollet, but directly across the street from the hardware store was the original Flight Time Studios. And so they would come in, the Flight Time guys, and they would talk to my father-in-law about business. He talked to him and told him to buy the fourplex next to their little studio so that when people came to record, they didn't have to stay at hotels. They could just stay at the fourplex. And so
smart move.
yeah, I put a basketball court back there. And, I used to work at the hardware store every now and then. All the family did. One night,
Yeah.
I'm sitting out there at the hardware store and I see this limo pull up, and it's dead of winter. And this lady tiptoes out into just tiptoe, and it's Janet Jackson, and she's going in to record. And I tell you, they would come into the hardware store, but so I knew Jelly and Jimmy. I didn't really know Jimmy, but I knew Terry very well. Terry was from the north side too and played football and ran track. He was an excellent athlete. So yeah, it's just a sad deal. It's really. I'm gonna watch for the news as to what happened and how I can attend whatever they have for Jelly Bean.
Yeah, yeah.
Will be
That
missed.
yeah. And again, our condolences. You making some tea back there? That sounds tasty this morning. Any thoughts, Reverend Christopher?
Hey, now, good morning to both of
Good
you
morning.
guys this morning. Appreciate you, Don. Appreciate you. I am a huge, if anybody knows me, Prince fan. Um, Anytime I do purple, it has nothing to do, Mr. Scott, with the Vikings. It is. So let me go. See, there he goes. See, Mr. Scott was talking about before we came on air. He referenced to the Vikings on this morning with my temporary backdrop here. But um, when the time came on the scene, I tell you, we dressed like the time. We and Jelly Bean was one of our heroes. I never had the opportunity to meet the man or anything of that sort. Was like I said, a fan from afar. but anytime our icons starts to fall off, it's kind of like, oh man, really, seriously,
Yeah, yeah,
kind of.
yeah. And that,
I know when Prince left us, that was a huge gut punch because, like I said, I've been when Prince came to Memphis, Tennessee, to Mid South Coliseum back, back in the day when I was that big. Yeah, man. So yeah, that kind of hits home here with him passing. So
okay.
um,
Okay.
God
Well,
bless.
well.
Oh, there we go. See,
Ah!
there we go. There we go.
Oh
There we
no.
go.
No, you didn't. Yeah. Okay. Okay. I don't know what's going on with this, but there's a cheese. There's some cheese in the
There's some.
house. Some cheese in the house. There's some cheese in. Okay, that's pretty cool. So while Anthony's figuring out his next hat, oh, okay, he doesn't have a Viking. I thought you were gonna put on the Viking horns, man, and come back.
Right, right. I said the same thing. I said he's gonna come back with them Viking horns. I
Yeah.
guarantee it.
Yep. That's hilarious. Hey, before we get going here, there's an event today that I want to make sure. And again, our Black News is not paid or supplemented by any government agency. We don't get grants like some news agencies. That we do this voluntary. So, the what's the name of this group? The Raymond W. Cannon Educational Foundation of the Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Inc. District of Minnesota proudly presents the Holiday Smiles with Santa. Holiday Smiles with Santa. And that's happening today, Saturday, 2 to 6 p.m. It's at the Golden Time Cafe. That's 856 Selby Avenue. The price there is $40. So I don't know. It's a fundraiser. Yeah, you're gonna sit on the brother's lap, Santa's lap, and bring your children, single women, whoever wants to sit on Santa's lap. Please join them for this Holiday Smiles with Santa scholarship fundraiser for Alpha Kappa Alpha Fraternity Inc., District of Minnesota. So yeah, and the flyers posted on Our Black News, so you should be able to see it there also.
Don, do you know who Ray Cannon is or was?
No, I don't, and I
Okay.
hope I was going to ask you that.
Yeah, Ray Cannon, if I'm not mistaken, because he's in one of my dad's books, and he was a prominent attorney in the Twin Cities area. Raymond
Oh,
Cannon. Yeah, I never met him, but I remember he has a very prominent picture in the Scott collection that my dad took back in the day. So it's interesting that he's being honored. I didn't know much about him. I'll have to read that bio again that's in the book. But yeah, he was a prominent attorney in the Twin Cities area.
yeah, I did not know that. I did
Yeah, I
not
think a
know
lot of
that.
people probably didn't know,
Yeah,
So
yeah. I mean, it's that fraternity, that Black Greek organization that is really into like helping the kids out here locally in the Twin Cities, and I think they do a lot of. I went to a couple of their events, and they do what they say they're doing, and it's just that I think it's unfortunate that a lot of us don't really support those kind of. We've been burned so many times, and we'll get into feeding our future real quick here. We've been burned so many
hold
times
on to
that
my wallet
it's
now.
hard.
Really.
It's hard for us to even fork out any money to anything that we feel good about inside, and it's unfortunate. But again, I just was reading the newspaper, Anthony, online, and Reverend Christopher says that the 77th person indicted, convicted or whatever, of the Feeding Our Future fraud said he was serving in excess of 3,000 kids a day and got millions of dollars. And then when I read that, I had to pause. Who are the people that missed the opportunity to check that early? Now, I've heard the stories from Minnesota Department of Education and this is firsthand stuff from people that are in there that have said, well, it would seem like we're racist if we check on them or if we hover over these black people that we gave 200. It's actually
No, don't say
500
black
million.
people. Don't say
Yeah,
black
yeah.
people.
Sorry, if with these Somali gentlemen that we gave this money to.
I'm gonna check everybody. I'm
Okay.
gonna check everybody who try to say black people.
Get ready to.
Okay, so yeah, I can hear you now, Lucky. We're gonna welcome Lucky Rosenbloom, Mr. Lucky Rosenbloom, good friend, Rondo guy, and we're gonna get into Rondo because I got to talk about some stuff there too. But we're talking about this feeding our future. So I read that, and I go, the Minnesota Department of Education encumbered the grant to insert in their SWIFT account so that it will be deposited in the various accounts of the individuals and organizations that were supposedly feeding our children across the state of Minnesota. So I'm shocked because from a marketing point of view, as we all know here, Reverend Christopher, Anthony, Lucky, that this is an opportunity to call one of our community gurus and say, hey, can you call up the local TV stations and say that, we're feeding 3,000 kids a day over here and give some positive promotion to Minnesota Department of Education and the agency feeding the kids? That mechanism never activated in this system, ever. Because that mechanism there would have busted this all out on the second week or actually that first 30 days after they got that first report that said, hey, we're feeding 10,000 here, 3,000 here, 4,000 here. That's news during the pandemic, right? It wasn't going on, but they weren't going to check on the Somali community, the first people off of welfare rolls here locally in the state of Minnesota. And again, we keep going down this rabbit hole where none of us here today on this show could get a nickel in a grant to do something because we would do the work. We would show you that we could do.
But Don, can you strictly, the humble Somalis? I mean, they're humble, very religious. They pray every day. They take their shoes off. They got to do all this kind of stuff. How can you really? Because the state gives them that money. There's an old saying that used to be in the community: if you see a fool, bump his head. And that's what they did to the state of Minnesota to get all that money. If you see a fool bump, they just bumped their head and they just kept giving it to them. I mean, this has gone on for years, Don. There was a place right down the street on 4th Avenue where Ilhan had her big hoopla when she got elected in, the Safari restaurant. That was supposed to be that was the whole headquarters of this whole thing. And it just sat there. She was part of it. There's pictures of it. They say they surveilled the place. But yet still, these people have gotten away with money. And the new thing is they didn't give the money to El Shabaab, whoever they are, somewhere over across the water somewhere. So but they should be held accountable too. The Department of Human Services, the state, all the way up to the governor. That's their responsibility to have a fiduciary responsibility to handle the state's and the people's money. And they didn't do it. They fell down.
No, they didn't. And I just like to welcome Mr. Lucky Rosenbloom to the program today. How you doing, sir? Can you hear me, Lucky?
I'm doing good, you all. Can you all hear me now?
We can hear you a little bit. It's kind of got a little
hear
bit
me?
of speed. Yeah, now we can. We can hear you now. We just heard that. We're doing the T-Mobile thing. We hear you. I can hear you now.
You can hear me?
Okay. Yeah, there you go. You're coming through nice and fresh, but we just can't see you, but that's okay. Welcome to the program. Oh, that's okay. Welcome to the program. We're just talking about this feeding our future debacle, man. And I know that you had, some things observations on that, either here or there, or when it was going on. I mean, what's your thoughts and opinions?
I'm going to tell you straight up what I've been. Hear me okay? Y'all hear?
Yes, absolutely.
Hear me okay? Oh, here's been in this community for years that could not get that money. Then you have another group of people that come in, they get the money. Let me tell you what I'm thinking, okay? White fragility. Let me explain what I mean by that. They came in, the white people being the great white hope, decided we're going to work with this particular community so it frees up our guilt to give them this money without question, without.
Okay, we
following, and then you have people that have been here for years. years that could not get that. But I know people that did, and in guilt, white fragility, and they needed a
Lucky, you are breaking up.
Someone that money to say we're white people.
Work something out over here because Lucky is breaking up and we can't hear him. And I'm trying to get this microphone and just see if it's on my end here. Let me try this. Okay. Yeah, he's still there, but we can barely hear him. But Lucky, if you didn't hear that, Lucky was saying that the Somali community played on white fragility, which I totally 100% agree with, and a lot of weird things went on. But Reverend Christopher, you were out there feeding folks and helping folks, families out during the whole pandemic. How come Minnesota Department of Education didn't call you up or say, hey, we're gonna level you up?
Not a dime, brother. You know who helped me during my time of feeding people out of the parking lot of my church? Republicans. I had Republicans bringing truckloads from Buffalo to St. Cloud, from St. Cloud all the way from Bemidji. They were bringing truckloads of food into North Minneapolis to help me feed North Minneapolis right out of the parking lot of Berin Missionary Baptist Church. Not one dime did I get from the Democrats. And let me piggyback off of Mr. Lucky there, what he said. But let's make it very, very clear when we talk about white liberals. White liberals is what we're talking about, sir, right? Is when you talk about the white guilt, but it wasn't just white guilt. If y'all don't believe that these white folks, these white liberals didn't realize that they could use black folks, black skin, brown people to piggyback off to get money to kick back, y'all not deep enough into this thing. There's a group called there's a group of women that came into the black community and used the death of black children to get money to push their gun agenda up at the Senate. They came into, why do you think we got all these nonprofits talking about, gun? Oh, I'm fighting gun violence in the city. We didn't have that before. These white women came in here, taught black people how to get these nonprofits, how to get this here little bit of money that we've been fighting for. They got a kickback. These white women left. They came in here, the broken window syndrome. Y'all heard of that?
Yeah.
They planting flowers and putting big flower pots in all around places, lying to the people. They putting gardens. If you go through North Minneapolis right now and look at all of these lots where they put these gardens, all them gardens look like a weed farm. I mean, look, just weeded all over. But when they came in with their intentions was to make sure that they got enough money from the government so they can take that money, put it back into the Democratic coffer, and the Democrats can go use that money to get all of these here gun bills that does nothing for the black community. These gun bills does nothing for the black community. Let's make sure we understand that. But these white folks got these gun bills passed through with the money that they stole from the black community. That leads me to this here. When you ask that question, how much money did I get? I got nothing, Don. They didn't offer nothing. They didn't put nothing in my coffer. They didn't help me with nothing. Tim Walz didn't do a damn thing for the black community when it came down to it. Even Mayor Fry, who I just helped get reelected again, Mayor Fry ain't did a damn thing for the black community, but yet we needed to get him back into the damn into the mayor's seat because of this very reason. These people, let's make sure we understand that. And like you said, let's make sure we differentiate ourselves from these people. Black folks, FBAs, if you want to call yourself that, African American descendant of slaves, if you want to call yourself that, ain't had nothing to do with this. Nothing. These folks, and here's the thing when we talking about how these people got over here. The people who brought them here did not do their due diligence and do their research on these people. These people are about conquer and taking over and using their ability to scam. But I'm not just going to blame them, Don. White folks had a lot to do with this. Just saying.
No, I mean, I agree 100% because they had no business. Let me put it like this. Hindsight's always 20/20, right? You look back and you see the things that were done wrong, and if you could redo them, you'd redo it, go back in time, and you'd fix all those things. But what has happened now is that it's become a trend or an epidemic, if you will, for these people that are holding on to the purse strings to feel comfortable with one sector of the community and not the foundation sector that has been here all along. And that's going on. But it's not just the people at Minnesota Department of Education. I'm looking at grants and even the Rondo neighborhood being given to Somali community members. And I'm like, wait a minute. Go ahead.
You know what?
We can't hear you.
Can you all?
Let me see if I can get Lucky to redo call back in. I know you were going to say something, but again, we can't hear. And just going back to Feeding Our Future before we move into the Rondo piece, I don't know how do we. All this stuff keeps coming out of the woodwork. I and you guys know already that they know who all the players are already. Why are they piecemealing this and pushing one forward every other month? Let's just wrap it up and figure out who we need to look at inside of the system of Minnesota Department of Education, where all that funding came from, and follow the names on the signature lines. And if Jane Doe's name is signed on this thing, or this thing, let's go to Jane Doe. How come you did not check?
Well, but the acting attorney that was in charge of this thing that really seemed to kind of make a big dent in it, he even said, oh, there's too many of them. We can't get them all. We're going to just got to get as many as we can, but there's too many of them. But that just gives you an idea of how much of the fraud has gone on, how much money that they've just thrown out there to these people without any oversight.
No, there you go. You're fine. I'm sorry.
Oh. Without any oversight, without anything. So why isn't the DHS people held accountable? Why aren't the people that signed off on giving all this money out? Why aren't they ever held accountable? They're not. And the reason, like I say, the reason that it continues to go is because the attorney even said there's so much of it, we don't even have enough people to go after all these people that are stealing money. See, so there's going to be more that comes. There's going to be more, and a lot of them have already fled. I mean, they've caught people at the airport with bags of money, but they didn't catch all of them. They didn't catch all of them, so some of them got away with the money, and that money's gone. All that money that went over to Africa, you'll never see it again.
Go ahead.
Well, the only thing you have to do is trace all of this stuff back to the Democrats.
Speak on that.
That's the bottom line when it comes down to it. This Democratic Party know their hands are dirty. They are dirty. They are filthy. And you trace this back because if you look at some of the money, it went to these Democrats who were running for these seats, running for these offices. I guarantee you, some of this money is out there in Lakeville where they're trying to build a mosque. Some of this is out there in Llano Lakes where they're trying to build a mosque. The bottom line comes down to it is Minnesota taxpayers. And the sad part about it is the Republicans don't have a backbone. They don't have power. They can't even get subpoena power. They can put these little committees together, but the Republicans don't even have power to have subpoena power to pull the right people in to ask the right questions so we can get the right people, so it can come down to the right people. That's how weak the Republican Party is. Let's not forget about that part. Yeah, they sat around and watched this stuff happen, man.
Yeah, I agree 100%. You're absolutely right. And I'm getting back in. I had to go adjust something, trying to figure out Lucky's thing on my end here, seeing if it was me, but it's not me. But yeah, and it's really it's just strange that no, it's not strange. They're doing what they want to do because they got the money, they have the upper hand. But it's strange that they can get basically away with this because we had a senator, a seated Minnesota senator, sitting here on the show. It was me, Anthony Scott, and I think Mr. Edwards was here. Oh no, he was not. Mr. Edwards was not here. But he even said that $250 million is not the amount. They said that he said it was 500 million. And like you said, Reverend Christopher, this Republican senator of Minnesota said that they were declaring suitcases full of money at the
Suitcases.
Minneapolis St. Paul airport leaving, going to Africa. Okay? Suitcases. He knows all this. But yet they're not telling us. They don't want to tell us. And
But Don, you got to remember now. Some of you probably don't know this, but I talked to Senator Roger Chamberlain on over and over and over. You got to remember the reason the Democrats had to get Senator Roger Chamberlain out of that seat is because he was already on the bird's eye on this thing. He was that helicopter that was hovering over the bullseye. He was talking about it. He was bringing them to the table. The Democrats took money and ran everything they could against Republican Senator Roger Chamberlain to get him out of that seat because he was about to blow the lid off of this thing a long time ago. And then the Republicans got weak and decided to, oh no, we can't go fight this thing because look at what they did to Roger Chamberlain. They got rid of him for blowing the whistle for opening the door. That's what the Democrats did. The seat Roger Chamberlain used to have at one time, the Democrats went after him because Roger Chamberlain long ago was about to blow the lid off of this thing. So when these Republicans act like they don't know about this, they act like this is a surprise to them, they are liars. They are flat out, no ifs, ands, or buts, liars. Matter of fact, hold on. Let me go one step further. You know who Chaz Neal is?
Yeah, I know who Mr. Neal is.
Chaz Neal. And there's another guy, his name he calls himself Wasp. Chaz Neal and Wasp opened the door to a lot of the North Minneapolis fraud that's going on with these nonprofits. They started it. They had Republican senators, Republicans, House of Representatives at that Capitol. They put on a presentation for them. So it's like I said, when the Republicans try to act shocked, they're lying. Listen to me, people. They're lying. They're lying. They got this little committee. Christian Robertson got that committee up there. That's a show. That's a forest. It's a show because they have no power. They have no power.
Well, I want to bring something into focus. You talked about Charles Neal did a presentation. Let's roll back to 2005 to 2010 when a guy named Lenny Chisholm walked into MnDOT and the Minnesota State Lottery, and Mr. Edwards, myself, and a couple others, and we figured out that in the state of Minnesota, people that are playing the lottery, they're selling most of the tickets, a lot of the tickets in the poorest neighborhoods of the Twin Cities. The money that's going out, the winnings, not happening, but they're making the money from this group of poor people in the Twin Cities, Black, Latinos, Native Americans, but the payouts aren't matching. And it doesn't make any sense. But then again, it does. And then MnDOT. Lenny had made MnDOT release dozens of reports that they were not in compliance with their version of DEI. That's what I'll call it. Of you had to be a minority contractor. And Mr. Edwards and I went to one of these shows. that they had, these meetings, I call them shows, and they featured a minority contractor. Okay, they had just gotten 80, 90 million dollars, and so they bring this minority contractor up and says, "Yeah, this is X and Z. They're a man and wife company, blah 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 blah." So I'm thinking like, all right, these brothers done got $3-4 million for the work they did because the work they completed. They got $750. Okay, nonprofits over north. Mr. Edwards and I looked in them from the Stair Step Foundation to all these other places, all this money. We've done this dance, and we keep repeating it with different people every 10 years. Just repeating it. We know there's a lot of stuff going on. This is how these people get paid, but there's no one to stop them because there's no one with any money to put up the right barriers to stop them. You know, you put a little attention on it, you can stop it. So, with that said, Anthony, were you going to say something?
No, Dad. I mean, this has been going on for quite a while. I mean, there's a lot of things on the north side that are going on. There's, I don't see a lot of that happening on the south side for some reason. I don't really see a lot of activity. I'm seeing some stuff now around the 38th in Chicago, where there has been a group of people that have dug in there to keep that looking like I don't know what, instead of doing anything to clean it up and to change it around, make it back into a business area.
Yeah.
I mean, this is hurting all the people in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
You can't go by there after the evening. The buses can't go through there. Cars can't go through there. I mean, emergency vehicle, police don't even go in that area. I mean, there are people, basically, it's a homeless type of thing that they're allowing to be there. They're bringing vestibules there. People are sitting there at night, building fires. I mean, it's just doing whatever else illegally that they want to do there, just without doing it with impunity. And so, and then I still want to know what happened to the five. Supposedly some money was supposed to go to the neighborhood when they gave money to the George Floyd family. Supposed to have been $500,000 was supposed to go to revitalizing the area. Well, where did that go? And who gave the money? It was so vague how they said it. They said, well, $500,000 from the settlement to the family. So did we expect the family to give $500,000, or did they take that off the top to give it to the agency? Nobody says anything more about that anymore. They don't even talk about that. You can't even find any information on it.
No,
I mean, it's just the level of graft that's going on in this community, and we're suffering for it. The people that are paying their tax, they don't stop our taxes. Now they've just raised property taxes. I don't know what they've done in St. Paul, but in Minneapolis, they put a 15, almost 20% bump on your property taxes. And you look at for schools. There's no schools in my neighborhood. I haven't had any kids in schools for 20 years. I mean, but yet and still that keeps going up and up, and there are no schools in the neighborhood. So I mean, it's
so they got to pay. They got to pay for them that snow removal over there, Mr. Scott.
Yeah, which we haven't even had that in a few
right.
years.
That's my point. That's my point. Where's that money going?
Exactly. And before we move forward, we want to congratulate Minneapolis Superintendent Dr. Lisa Sales Adams for winning the Superintendent of the Year for 2026.
I'll
stop. I was not even serious. She did win it, but it goes to show you it's who you know. Because I need an award because I haven't done laundry for a week, and I took it up this morning at 6:30, and I put the darks in the washing machine. I should get an award for the husband that does the laundry for 2026.
Hey, I do laundry. I do laundry in my house, so I need one of those awards too.
I mean, if you're giving out awards, who do we have to know to get this? And it's really no slight, but you know what? Don't call me with an award unless I did something where the needle moves for the kids. You know what I mean? Like this week in North Minneapolis, more than 13 children that look like us in North Minneapolis was suspended in one day from one school. You hear that? 13 kids at a North Minneapolis school were suspended in one day. That's not I don't know what happened Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and etc. But I know on Tuesday last week, 13 kids were suspended for nefarious activities inside of a school. Why? What is wrong in that building? What is wrong with that leadership? Now I'm going into my principal superintendent thing. What is wrong with that system where you have to put 13 children that are 3 or 4 grade levels below where they should be out of the building? But there's no protest. And you know what? Now that
wait a minute, whoa. Who protested?
nobody protested. I said there's no protest.
Okay. I thought. Oh, okay. I thought you said
wait.
they were.
But before I go on, we got some breaking stuff here. I got to put this up here. Trump says he's ending temporary protected status for Somalis in Minnesota.
Dude, I said on yesterday. I said on yesterday when this here came out. I said on yesterday, if he's gonna clean it up, he better start right here. He better start right here. But here's the deal though. Don, here's my question to him. And I think he's got a choice. He's either going to come clean Minnesota up or he's going to release the Epstein files. So which one do you want to do?
Yeah.
Which one do you want? You either going to come in here and clean this stuff up, right? Or you going to release the Epstein files. But one of them, Trump, you got to do one of them. Period, point blank.
And the Epstein files are a distraction. Who gives a damn to know about who's screwing who? Why is that so important now? Why is that? Oh, we got to find out. Okay, so what? You find out that Denzel Washington, I'm just saying he didn't do it. I'm not alleging anything or saying anything. I'm just for an example, because I hold Denzel Washington in the highest of regards in my theater of actors, human beings, business people, and scholarly black men. He's like at the top shelf with a couple other folks, Cornel West. But anyway, say I find out that Denzel Washington went to Epstein's Island and got busy, okay, a couple nights outside of his marriage. What am I supposed to do with that? How does that help me get to where I need to be? Why would that even be? Who cares? Why we're letting the media dog walk us by our nose and our nape of our neck to follow this stuff while you got kids in Chicago beating up whole families? Okay.
But I don't mean to cut you off. Sorry about that.
Go ahead, sir.
But here's my question though. When we're talking about Epstein Island, and we can't say who cares, because if they're over there messing with some look, I'm an advocate for women. I was out there at Shakopee prison when they did that protest, because they got men, not women, men in the Shakopee prison. We're going to be in front of on Thanksgiving. On Thanksgiving, we're going to be in front of the governor. On Thanksgiving Day, we're going to be in front of the governor's place protesting men in women prison. But I bring that all the way back around to say, if these older men were out there messing with 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9 little girls, that's a different story though. Yeah. That's a total different story. If they'd out there messing with these girls, man, they got to have their hands hacked off. Look, we got to get to the point where we're saying women are a protective class now. That women are a protective class, as far as I'm concerned. No, there should be no men in a woman's bathroom. There shouldn't be a man in no woman's space. And then they sit there and go, well, what if he ID as a woman? I don't care what he has ID for. If he's got a wang between his legs, I don't want to see him in a woman's space. I wish I would go to the zoo. and some dude walk in the bathroom and my wife is in there. Now you put me in trouble because more than likely I'm going to end up in jail. It ain't happening, bro.
No.
It's not happening. Period. Point blank. I don't know. You're not going to make me believe something that's not damn true. It's just not going to happen. Men don't belong in women's spaces. So if Epstein Island turned into where they messing with these little kids, that's a different story, brother.
It is. It is. And that, but Reverend, that's obvious to people. You can't mess around with these kids. You want to talk about, like you say, I would go to jail. Somebody fooling around with my granddaughters. I mean, come on now.
Thank you.
This is just wrong 101. But see, they confuse the issue so much. Now, they had a thing today in the paper where this girl, she lives out in the country and they don't have any schools out there. Okay. And so she wants to play basketball. So for the men, what they do with those schools that don't have many students, they let them pool 3 or 4 schools together to have a team. They won't let the women do that. They won't let them pull the women together so that they can have enough girls to have a team. So she just said, well, I'll just play on the men's team, the men's team then. And they said, well, no, you can't do that. Okay. But then why won't they allow the girls to put together their own team like they let the men do when the schools are too small and they don't have enough players?
Yeah.
I mean, that doesn't even make sense. See, that's how they mix up all of this stuff to keep it all bollocksed up so people can't see which way is up on this stuff.
I agree with you, Anthony, 100%. Hey, I saw this on social media, and I want to play a little bit, and maybe you guys can bring me up to speed because I don't know what this is about. And this is like the second time I'm kind of watching it, and it's attorney Nakima Levy Armstrong, I think her name is now. And let's just listen to some of this.
You all know we are here to once again call for the public to stand and continue solidarity with us in holding Target Corporation accountable for its decision to capitulate, to roll back its commitments. It did so. And we made a decision that just as they decided to roll back diversity, equity, and inclusion, that we decided to roll back our dollars. And so beginning on February 1st of this year, we launched a nationwide boycott of Target.
Okay. I'm not gonna watch that whole thing because I'm not even with. I'm going to Target this morning. Anyway.
Well, you know why they're doing that, right?
Oh no, I have no clue. What did Target do?
They pulled out. So Target always had a space for Black entrepreneurs. They had a place where they can bring their product in, and it's a Black space, and they can sell their stuff from out of Target like that. So when Trump and his administration decided that they were going to make Black people, Black women, the face of DEI, which we know is a damn lie, which we know Charlie Kirk lied, that white women are the true face of DEI, Target pulled all the Black stuff out of their stores. Target did their DEI. Target went along with everybody and said, we're going to cut the DEI part of our stores. So they pulled out all Black people's stuff. So they're like, hey, we're going to go, we're going to boycott Target. Pastor Jamal Bryant is the head of this whole Target protest because they pulled out Black products because Trump decided, we're going to do the 2020 project and go after Black folks. So Black people are supposed to. I don't shop at Target anyway. I'm a Walmart guy. I ain't been to Target, and last time I went to Target, we were down in Memphis, Tennessee, where I went home, and I didn't have a choice but to go to Target because it was literally right down the street, and I wasn't going into West Memphis at all because I'll get shot. So I wasn't going there. But that's why they're out there protesting, because Target pulled out all the black stuff.
Well,
Yeah,
you
but
know, that's really strange
have you gone
because
to Cub Food over by East Lake? Okay, there's a Cub right down the street. There's a huge mosque. I mean, there is a man. When you drive by this place, you think you're in a whole different country, man.
Yep.
It's a giant thing. It sits up, but you go into the Cub Foods there, and they have all kind of nothing but ethnic stuff in there. They have a whole half of the store like that. But see, it's not identified as black. It's not identified. Right. See, we're targeted on this.
That's right.
That's all it is. It's just targeting us. You know, this is what keeps going on with this foolishness. You know, and I hope, you know, and then down, I've got to leave in a little bit here. And I wanted to get into something of what's going on in St. Paul with this, this land grant thing that they have over there. Have you heard about that?
Yeah, I went to one meeting a while back and just kind of sat with my camera off and listened. And it's the Rondo Land Trust or Rondo
Trust. Yeah.
Yes, something to that effect. And it's really weird because I was just talking to someone the other day. I says, you know, my cousins, myself, my uncle had business in Rondo. My dad had a business in Rondo. My uncle had a church in the middle of Rondo. And I can't find any of that history or that background in any of this Rondo stuff. And then I'm looking, I'm like, they're like reshaping the history of Rondo like it was 1990 to now, instead of, you know, let's go 40, 50s and then move forward, or even before that. And so I'm like, who's in charge of this? And they're giving out grants to folks to do stuff. I have no idea what people are doing in Rondo. I know they were going to stop the crime or something, but there's not that much crime over here.
Well,
Really
one thing I looked at this land trust thing is they're helping people supposedly buy houses. But the thing is, when you buy the house, you just get the house. You don't own the land. The land trust owns the land. So, I mean, how in the world? So if your house burns down, you can't build another one. You have to buy the land or rent the land or something back. I mean, I've never heard of anything like this. Why would I buy a house and I don't own the property it sits on?
Yeah.
I mean that's winning, isn't it? I mean,
and my question to this whole Rondo thing is, why are they trying to be everything to everyone and plug in? Rondo historically is a black neighborhood, and to get back to that ethnic foundation of culture, procedures, and strategy, why don't we focus on the people? But they draw people in by, oh, we can get you a house, we can do this, and it's not the black people that set it up in the first place.
That's right.
We ain't got no money to set crap up. Okay?
That's right.
Nobody black set none of this up. They said, this is how we're going to do it. And if you can get some black folks to buy some houses here, you're going to be the executive director here. You're going to be this over here. And they put that face on there. And they've done that with Rondo. They totally taken the meaning of Rondo neighborhood out of the Rondo neighborhood to make it some kind of development, some kind of you know, people were posting pictures. I went to the Rondo Land Trust Ball or Gala, whatever they call those things. And I'm like, well, what did you do? What are you celebrating? Then someone tapped me in and says, oh, they're doing a fundraiser. I said, fundraiser for what?
What?
I still see, I can go down to Victoria or Grotto. Yeah, Victoria and Selby, and go a block east to that next street there and see poverty in its real, just up close and personal. So you never done nothing over there. You moved, you know, the one great thing is that Walker West has a building in Rondo, but it's over on Marshall, a brand new state-of-the-art music school, lessons, nice, great building. At least they stayed there and they upgraded that, you know, their facility. But still, you know, it's blighted. And so I'm saying, if you really care about Rondo, you bring a grocery store in there. Because you closed the Cub Foods.
Close the Club Foods. You know, I'm surprised that the Target is even still there. You know, I mean, I really am. But what about this land bridge that they were talking about, Don? There was some
That's
kind
not
of land bridge that they were supposedly put. I don't know where this thing was going to go. It was going to go between, I guess. Oh God, what is those streets that run on the side of the freeway?
in St. Anthony and Concordia.
Concordia. Yeah, what was going to be on this bridge? A land bridge that you couldn't drive on it? I mean,
Oh, you could drive on it, but what they were going to do was that they were going to. I saw pictures back in 2016 of this thing, like artist renderings, and the cars would go under like a tunnel, and on top they'd have houses. They said we're going to bring back the Ronald neighborhood. I said, who's going to be able to afford a house on top of a freeway, state of the art, everything? I mean, does that make any sense? And they had a lot of folks from the black community paying them to pitch that to the black community like it was.
They're going to still do that?
I have no idea. I hope not. I have no idea.
Oh, that makes no sense.
So, but anyway, getting back to Target real quick and then moving on because we all got to go. I know that. I don't understand why you would even. There's no one in the Twin Cities, none of us, that have Target money. Number one. Number two, why does there have to be a separate thing for black people inside of Target? What happens with us just doing business with Target? So, bringing a brand. Why does it have to be so select and pointed and then displayed? Why can't we have a black lotion next to Jergens or Dove or something like that without having to take it off and make it a separate display and say, oh, these are black businesses, that sell, like the guy that had the clothing in Target. I can't remember his name. His stuff was sitting in there in the mainstream. It wasn't like, I can't remember his name, but he's a North Side, and so he had stuff like laid out, and it was really nice. It was really cool. So, but yeah, it just doesn't make any sense.
Well, Don, we don't have, you say why does it have to be? Because number one, Target's a big store, right? But I blame us because we don't have a mall. We don't have a mall like the Somalis. We don't have a mall like the Asians. We don't have nothing for ourselves that we can take our products and then go sell it in an area like that. So
mess. We couldn't do them all. We tried to kill each other.
Which I was getting there. We could not. I mean, because we're too busy always blaming, everybody else for our problems. One of the things you brought up earlier was the situation that happened in Chicago with that young mother and those kids doing what they did. I said point blank, excuse my language, what I'm about to say, but every one of those kids that did what they did, that's a parent problem. That's a parent problem. And those kids need their ass whooped. Period, point blank. Period, point blank. That's a perfect example of why we can't have good stuff together. So we have to use a Target because we couldn't do that. We couldn't do what the Somalis did. We couldn't do what how the Asians got themselves out there and what they got. We cannot do that. Why? Because we got pirates in the community that when the money comes down, they make sure they get the money in their pocket first. When you take a set of people, put them on a freeway, and you somehow get let go, but those people you put on that freeway go to jail, but yet you get paid for putting those people. Something's wrong with the community, brother. Something's wrong with the community. I'm just saying. So we need a Target because we couldn't do this on our own, ourselves, period. Get mad at me if you want, but I guarantee you, like I keep telling people all the time, anytime I say something, prove me wrong. Can't hear you, Don.
Sorry about that. We covered a lot of stuff today. I appreciate y'all taking the time on this last minute. We got to figure out something and get Lucky on here because I know Lucky had When he
Oh,
comes
yeah.
to Rondo, we used to walk to Tiger
Oh,
Jacks from
man.
our house to go get candy, penny
Yeah.
candy and
I
stuff.
was really looking forward to hearing from him on the Rondo.
Yeah, man.
He's gonna lay it down. You
And
know.
he has some stuff to say that I'm gonna figure out his. Sorry about that. I'm gonna figure out some stuff for him, and I know we already know that. Yeah, we said that, and so we'll figure something out where we can get him back, even if I have to get him over to the house in the basement and set him out in the hallway with a camera so he can just. So we'll work something out, and we'd like to thank everybody for listening and watching our Black News. And Anthony, Reverend Christopher, thank you, and let's continue that watch. There goes the
Really,
cheese.
Yes, sir. Yes,
There goes
sir.
the cheese, the cheese. Okay, bye, you guys.